Okay, I'm gonna try this again. I don't recall exactly how I stumbled upon the UK radio series Blue Jam. Maybe I overheard the name mentioned in a video somewhere. Maybe it was recommended on a YouTube recommended video. But I clearly remember the mix of joy and disgust I felt the first time I listened to it. I was folding t-shirts for a small brand I run, and normally I'd be listening to old school underground Memphis rap or MF Doom, but on this particular lonely night at 2 a.m. I opted for a playlist of Blue Jam episodes while folding about 200 shirts as everyone else in the house slept. In hindsight, it may have been the perfect listening setup. I had to use headphones, which made me hyper aware of every sound, picking up on every nuance as it played directly into my ears. Also, I've always found the hours just after midnight to be the creepiest, and Blue Jam fits this atmosphere perfectly. Now, for those unfamiliar and without giving too much away, Blue Jam was a UK radio series created and directed by Chris Morris, running for 18 episodes. It aired late at night, with each episode opening and closing with a surreal monologue delivered by Morris, describing bizarre and often unsettling emotions and situations. These monologues are set to ambient music interwoven with clips of other songs and sounds, creating a dreamlike, sometimes haunting soundscape. And with each intro ending with Morris inviting the listeners into the world of Blue Jam with the phrase, "Welcome in, Blue Jam." There's also a TV series based on Blue Jam, which made the transition from radio to television, adjusting its format and tone to suit the new medium. The title was shortened from Blue Jam to Jam, focusing more on the sketches while cutting out the ambient musical transitions. Now for me, Blue Jam is like a time capsule of a type of humor that my friends and I appreciated back in the day. The kind that you couldn't get away with now, you couldn't make it now. The sketches in Blue Jam explore heavy, often taboo topics. I'm not here to justify the shock humor, but there's a part of me that's refused to fully grow up. I still remember the carefree, lazy days of my youth, hanging around with a friend or two, swapping weird stories or trading what's grosser than gross jokes, and every now and then that side of me needs to be fed, and so I feed it Blue Jam. So why should you listen to Blue Jam? Well, there's something so absurd yet brilliant about this series. Sometimes it's unsettling, a lot of times. Sometimes it's creepy, a lot of times. And other times it's downright gross, but more often than not, it's surreal and thought-provoking. It's the kind of experience where even the smallest, strangest idea lingers with you, making the journey worth it. Listening to Blue Jam feels a bit like listening to someone else's dream while you yourself are lucid, allowing you to interpret it in your own way. Plus, there's some incredible music I wouldn't have discovered otherwise. Now, when I first found Blue Jam on YouTube, the versions I encountered had been edited, with the music blends and the ambient tracks removed due to outdated YouTube copyright rules. Oddly enough, this neutered version might have been a good introduction, since I was immediately bombarded by skits that made me laugh out loud, question what the hell I just heard, or feel flat out disgusted. And yet somehow I was always laughing. Some of the humor is difficult to justify, especially in today's landscape with the taboo topics that they touch on. But hey, it was made in England by people who use the same words differently than I do. For context, I'm of English descent. I am American. My mother is from England. Now, it just so happens while Blue Jam was on the air, I was in England. And boy, do I wish I would have heard it one late night while out there, as I know that would have scarred me for life, haunting me for years, in the most beautiful way, of course. Now, as I mentioned, the YouTube playlist I listened to was missing the music interludes, but the music they couldn't edit out in the background of the skits really sets the tone, amplifying the experience. I even rediscovered some songs I had forgotten about, woven into the show's surreal backdrop. One song that I now find myself singing internally to myself most of the time is In Heaven, a song from the surreal classic Eraserhead by David Lynch. I ended up listening to all 18 episodes 4 or 5 times before even thinking to seek out the full broadcast versions, remembering that they might be available on the Internet Archive. But by the time I had this idea, though, the Internet Archive was down due to a legal battle. When it came back up sometime later, I checked again and by luck found the episodes were still available. I feverishly downloaded each one, worried the archive might go down again before I collected all 18 episodes. Instead of 30-minute edited versions, I now had the full 60-minute episodes. I'm still working through those right now. The experience, now enriched by the additional music, even included some little tidbits that for some reason had been excluded in the edited versions I first listened to. So again, why should one listen to Blue Jam, you might wonder. Blue Jam offers something for every level of curiosity and intellect. It's an audio journey, unlike anything else. It's a blend of surreal, unsettling humor and atmospheric storytelling that taps into the darker, stranger sides of human nature. And if you're open to challenging, unconventional humor or simply enjoy exploring unique artistic expressions, Blue Jam is worth every minute. It is truly a one-of-a-kind experience. Now, I want to tell you about the skits, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of a taste of a couple of them. But there's nothing I could say that's gonna. You gotta listen to Blue Jam. But anyways, one sketch: a woman hires a plumber to fix her baby, who has passed away. Initially, the plumber firmly rejects the request, but when he hears the hourly rate, his stance quickly shifts. The dark absurdity of the situation, combined with the shocking turn of events, creates a feeling of unease and a sickly atmosphere that lingers long after the sketch ends. It's the kind of surreal horror that defines Blue Jam, making you laugh even as it disturbs you. Another sketch centers on a man who has just taken someone's life and calls for professional help to dispose of the body. To his surprise, the professional turns out to be a child, far more calm, collected, and in control than the man himself. The absurdity of this situation, paired with the child's matter-of-fact demeanor, adds a layer of dark humor that's both unsettling and hilarious, with a conclusion that is just utterly diabolical. And in yet another sketch, a man attempting a robbery finds himself in a bizarre predicament when he deliberately places a gun inside of his stomach as part of an ill-fated plan. However, the situation quickly spirals out of control. There's also the occasional odd and absurd interview, including one with Jerry Springer of all people, that adds another layer of weirdness to this series. The interviews always leave me wondering what the interviewee must have thought of the entire experience. The surreal nature of the questions and the bizarre setup make it like a strange blend of reality and absurd fiction. Now, being me, just listening to Blue Jam wasn't enough once I learned about its TV adaptation. When it made the jump to television, they shortened it to Jam for a few reasons. First, they made the title simpler and more direct, which worked better for TV. Dropping the blue not only made it feel more accessible, but also aligned with the shift from the radio's heavy ambient atmosphere to a more minimalist visual style. The blue in Blue Jam likely referred to its melancholic, surreal tone, but by shortening the title, they could focus more on the show's identity in the new format. Speaking of changes, they also removed the music between sketches, likely for time, pacing, and licensing reasons, which also allowed the comedy sketches to take center stage. Ultimately, whether you explore Blue Jam on its own or with its television counterpart Jam, both offer unique insights into the world of dark comedy. The blend of absurdity, surrealism, and uncomfortable humor makes Blue Jam a standout in the world of alternative radio shows, one that continues to challenge listeners and leave a lasting impact long after the final monologue fades away. If you're up for it, dive into the world of Blue Jam, but remember, it's not for the faint of heart. It's a journey that may leave you questioning reality and in the best way possible while making you laugh. I've put some links in the description if you wish to download the full unedited episodes from the archives, as well as a playlist from another YouTube channel that has the shortened versions. Thank you.